All right, hello everyone, it's Germane again. As you know, we're presenting this series for you, Journey Through the Galactic Heritage Cards, and we're almost done the deck now. So, of course, as we always do, if you are watching this for the first time, we'd like to recommend, please watch from the beginning so you can have all the information in the context in which it was presented. All right, so in the last video then, you may remember, we were talking about the Zetas, and we were talking about how the integration process that they have gone through created a new level of consciousness. And symbolically, you could say that that level of consciousness makes the idea of hybrids very, very meaningful. We also talked about in the last video the Association of Worlds card as being a representative of the idea of community or the calling of one's parts home, and then how that inner integration manifests in the outer world. Therefore, with all of that background, we now move to the first hybrid species that is represented in this card deck. Most of you who are watching this probably know this species quite well from other channels on your world who channel the energy. But we do want to say that even though this particular species is represented in the card deck, that the idea of hybrids in general is what is meant by including this species in the deck. So we'll talk about that in a moment. All right. So we're going to talk about then the most famous of hybrid species, who is a combination, if you will, of human and Zeta genetics. And that is the civilization you know of as the star Essassani or the Sassani people, and their profound connection to humanity. If you can look at the immense journey that consciousness has taken through your galactic family, and the levels of fragmentation and the levels of drama, eventually though, it all comes back home. It all comes back. It all begins the reintegration process. So when you have species then, such as those from Essassani that are representative of hybrid consciousness, you can see it as a willingness or an acceptance to the idea of integration. And that leads us then to the theme of the card, the first card here, Species Essassani, the card 101 with the theme of integrity. Now, this theme has several different meanings. One has to do with what we were just saying, integrity, meaning wholeness, meaning the bringing together of all of your parts and allowing the validity of all those parts to come back home within you so that nothing is missing. There's no, in a sense, puzzle with a piece missing. It's the loving and the ownership of all the parts, both dark and light. That is the core essence of what integrity is. However, another aspect of integrity that you see displayed externally, let's say, is when thoughts, emotions, actions, and intents are all in alignment. When you look on your planet now, on Earth, you don't always see that. And a lot of that is because of the level of evolution that your planet is in. A great many people on your planet are not aware of internal motivations, or maybe have no interest in looking at the wounds and things such as that. So you don't have an environment of integrity as a natural default place of consciousness. However, as you move into the evolutionary process and as your civilization moves more deeply into fourth density, you're going to find that consciousness of integrity, thoughts, emotions, actions, and intents, all in alignment, that becomes the default. And when it is a default within a civilization, you have the entire transformation of the civilization. So the reason why we chose to include the integrity theme in an Essassani card is because the Essassani are a representation, if you will, the poster child for this idea of a species that has gone through a process of integration that has led to a state of this default integrity consciousness. And this is one of the reasons why, at this point in your evolution, the Essassani consciousness, primarily through the channel you know of as Daryl Anka and the being Bashar, although other people connect with the energy too, it's one of the reasons why this consciousness is coming to your planet at this time to, in a sense, model this default level of consciousness based on integrity. That is actually your natural state. And we know right now you might be thinking it's a long road to get there, but you would be surprised. It's much like a snowball rolling down a hill. Once the momentum starts, it only picks up speed. So a lot of what you're seeing on your world right now in terms of very high-profile individuals who seemingly have no integrity, a lot of it is coming up in your face, so to speak, to allow you to view it and to look within to the places within you, perhaps, where you've not allowed your own integrity to blossom. So if this card has come up then in your reading, again, many different interpretations. It could be that an Essassani energy is communicating or wishing to communicate with you. It could also be that it is asking you to go more deeply into your own exploration of what integrity means for you. Whether it is on the outer level with your thoughts, emotions, actions, or intents, or on the inner level in terms of owning the things, and especially the uncomfortable things that have not wanted to be owned in the past. Either way, if this card comes up, you're getting, let's say, a nice boost from the universe to assist you in this process. All right, so if you then have a civilization that is on this path of blossoming the integrity to the point where it becomes the default setting for the civilization, what happens? That's what's addressed in the next card. So the next card is 102, Essassani again, and the theme is alchemy. Alchemy has to do with the bringing together of what might seem to be opposites, what might seem to be energies that don't mix well together, but somehow through the acceptance, through the commitment to integrity, to integration, that all of these seemingly opposite forces come together and create a shift. You know, the old alchemists on your world, it's a wonderful metaphor about the idea of turning lead to gold. Similar idea where when you bring forces together that seemingly don't seem to mix, they instead, through love and acceptance, can create a whole new energy. So this is also what's being asked of you as a civilization now on your world, which again, we keep going back to the same theme of calling all of your parts home and welcoming them and embracing them, because that is the most important key right now for your world. That is what creates the alchemy. Now, if you look at the history of the Essassani, they are part human and part Zeta. Now, we covered the Zeta in the last video. However, the human part was especially fragmented. And by allowing the human part, all of those fragments, let's say that is the TNT creating the alchemy. Because when you have so many divergent parts, so many contradictory energies, and they are all welcome together, the alchemy is the dynamic explosion, so to speak. So the Essassani, because they're part human, represent the successful transformation of all of those seemingly divergent and incompatible parts. It's a success story, if you will, for humankind. You could say they are your future, although humankind has many futures. They are one line of your future that represents the successful transformation of human consciousness. Congratulations! This is one of the reasons why the time theme on the Essassani cards is parallel, because we did not want to ground it in a time continuum. It is much more expansive than that. So don't worry about the time continuum. This consciousness is pulled in when you need it. So if you've gotten the alchemy card in your reading, then you can know that it is really a message for you that the things in your life that seemingly don't mix well, or the things within you that you're having a challenge with, they might be seemingly on the surface gaining power as a way to set off the dynamic explosion, so to speak. We don't mean to worry you in that way. We're just saying that it's an opportunity. The alchemy card is an opportunity for rapid transformation if you allow yourself to welcome and accept the experiences that are arising. All right, so then, if you have a civilization or a consciousness who has welcomed all of their parts, who has looked at the universe as a reflection of them, who has allowed this, in a sense, alchemical transformation to happen, who has, as we talked about in the last video, allowed themselves to wake from the human dream, what remains then? What state of consciousness occurs? Well, we look at card number 103. Again, it's an Essassani card, and the theme is spiritual sovereignty. This has to do with the idea of freedom. But freedom is an overused word. What does that mean? Most humans, especially in third density and also the early parts of fourth density, the motivator or the guiding force is often their pain. They make choices even on an unconscious level because of belief systems, because of painful experiences. You could say that that is a state that doesn't feel free. Many humans perhaps really actively try to work on their own development, but they cannot, for whatever reason, feel like they are freeing themselves from certain habits and patterns. This is very, very common within third density and early fourth density. However, as you begin this whole process we've been talking about of integration, things really begin to change because your guiding force, let's say, does not become pain or avoidance or belief systems as much anymore, even on the unconscious level. Because when you allow yourself to go through that type of alchemy in your consciousness, it is a type of awakening or enlightenment, as we talked about with the Zetas in the last video. And the result of that is freedom, is spiritual sovereignty, is living as a consciousness that is no longer bound or no longer shaped or no longer identified by the past or by wounds or by belief systems. It is a consciousness that is truly free. We would say most consciousness in early fourth density, third density, don't quite yet know what that feels like, though you do get glimpses of it. So the Essassani civilization then has gone through this alchemy as a species so that you can say they are free. Now, we have done many workshops in the past, some of them are available on the downloads, where we've talked about the wounds from your different main players of your galactic family and how those wounds have influenced their evolutionary development. We've talked about that in these videos too. And while the Essassani are part Zeta and part human, and in that past was influenced by the wounds of the humans and the Zetas, their alchemy has, in a sense, created a new species that is free from the wounds, the belief systems, and all of that of the Zetas and the humans. It is not a rejection of that past. It is almost, in a sense, a celebration of it, an embracing of it and an allowing of it, allowing of the alchemy with such enthusiasm, as you know the Essassani have, to awaken themselves and become truly spiritually sovereign. That's what this card means. So if you've gotten this card in your reading, again, it can mean many different things, but it might be telling you that you are on the cusp, perhaps, of freeing yourself from something that once defined you. It may also be telling you that you need to free yourself from something that once defined you. It may also be telling you that the Essassani energy is assisting you as well. We'll leave it to you to understand your own interpretation, but we've given you a little bit of seeds here that you can use for deeper understanding. All right, so you have a civilization then that has freed themselves, that are no longer bound by species pain, species history, genetic lineage, but they are truly free. What's next then? So, we know many of you don't like this truth, but, well, we'll use a metaphor. You know that pair of shoes that is so old, they're falling apart. They don't really serve you anymore because they leak in the rain, but they're so comfortable that you still wear them. And there's that resistance to getting the new pair of shoes, so to speak. It's kind of a metaphor for humans and their pain. That their pain very often is like those old shoes. It's not really serving you, but it's comfortable because it's familiar. What happens if you give up all of that? As the Essassani did with their spiritual sovereignty. They gave up what was familiar and comfortable, but that was not in, let's say, in alignment with the new consciousness. The pain is no longer what is called home. They go out into the unknown. That is what the next card is referring to, number 104, leaving home. It's referring to how the previous things that once defined you, that were once home, so to speak, even as uncomfortable as they might be, are now left behind. And the consciousness goes off into the unknown with no tethers, with no anchors, with no roadmap, but is comfortable in the moment without knowing where it's going. This is the ability to truly experience this wondrous separate reality that causes so much pain in third and fourth density, but in the higher levels of fourth density has so much beauty and so much grace and so much magic, which you are just beginning to see. It's because you leave the home of your pain, so to speak. You leave the home of the belief systems that are familiar, and you fully immerse yourself in the unknown. So if you've gotten this card in your reading, you know what we're going to say. It might be a little prompt for you to let go of something that was previously familiar, but that protected you from expanding yourself. Take a look at that. What can you let go of? What is it time to let go of that can help you go off into the unknown? There might be a little bit of fear, that's okay, but to also embrace that joy, that magic, that grace and beauty of that part of existence in this wondrous separated realm. That's your challenge, my friends. And we know, because we've seen many civilizations take this road, we know that you can do it beautifully and with joy, as the Essassani and other civilizations have done before you. That is your road. That is where you are leading home. And we thank all those wonderful civilizations, such as the Essassani, who have made the map. Even though you're not supposed to follow a map, they've made a map. So you can just know that you can move forward and experience that amazing experience in this realm of separation. And here is the paradox. Most of the time, as you are living in the realm of separation, third density and into fourth density, you can't wait to give it up. But when you get to the higher levels of fourth density, such as the Essassani, such as the Pleiadians and the Syrians in that era, they start savoring the experiences in physicality in a whole different way. And that too is where you are headed. Even if you cannot imagine it right now, that is where you are headed. And if you allow yourself to become still and to open to that idea, you can get glimpses. And those glimpses will help you navigate through the final pain roads that you are journeying through in this early part of fourth density. You have many guides, and we are all so excited to assist you with this. All right, so until next time is the last set of cards for the deck. Until next time, we send you much love.